Okay, so faith and politics.
Yep.
Well, it's a minefield, isn't it? Deep beliefs crashing right into each other.
Absolutely. Forget easy answers today.
Yeah, we're diving straight into something that really cuts deep. Should we just ban religion from politics? Like, forever.
Whoa.
Not about taking sides, more about exploring that really uncomfortable territory, you know? Questioning things we normally just accept.
And it throws you right into this moral furnace. I mean, think about it, the toughest scenario.
Go on.
What if your God, demanded a law that you knew would hurt millions? Seriously, what would you do?
Oof. Yeah, that's not abstract.
Not at all. It forces you to confront how faith could, potentially undermine basic justice and passion even.
Or imagine this, a world where every political decision needs, like a divinity test.
Whose test?
Exactly. Whose God gets the final say? Yours, mine, someone else's entirely. The sheer impossibility of that.
It shows you just how tangled it gets when you try to apply one religious rule book to, well, everyone. It's dizzying.
And this isn't just theory, right? Many of us have personal experience here.
Definitely. Maybe you voted for something based on a religious value, felt really strongly about it,
Yeah.
only to see later that it actually caused harm, real harm to real people.
That kind of realization, that internal conflict,
Yeah.
it can really make you rethink things, can't it?
Hugely.
Yeah.
Makes you question how much faith should influence public life.
So look, our goal today isn't to give you the answer. We're not planting a flag.
No easy solutions here.
Instead, we want to unpack this complex knot. The contradictions, the beliefs we don't even realize we have about religion and politics.
Think of it as a shortcut, maybe. A way to get a clearer, if maybe more complicated picture of this whole tension.
We talk a lot about separation of church and state. Sounds simple enough.
On paper, yeah.
But be honest, how many of us secretly hope our leaders kind of share our core beliefs, our faith?
It makes you ask, how separate are they really? In our heads and our expectations. What do we actually want from leaders when it comes to faith?
And you see this playing out everywhere. This isn't just dusty legal arguments.
No, it's live.
It's happening in school board meetings, right? Big fights over healthcare bills. Every time there's a tragedy and you hear thoughts and prayers.
Instead of policy, instead of action.
Right.
Yeah.
The tension is right there shaping our communities.
Okay, let's flip it though. What if we actually did it? Banished religion completely from politics.
Like a total separation.
Would that automatically mean pure reason, perfect justice? Or could it just create a vacuum?
A void.
Yeah, and what rushes in to fill it? Maybe other ideologies, just as rigid, just as dogmatic, just not called religion.
Yes, that's a tricky ethical spot, isn't it?
It's a tightrope, definitely.
I keep picturing that politician. You know the type.
Yeah.
Prayer breakfasts, photos with religious figures, always talking faith.
Seen it many times.
But then their actual policy,
Oh, is it
undermining the very things that faith supposedly champions, like cutting social safety nets.
The performance of piety versus the actual impact. It's
Right.
stark.
So what does that tell us? It makes you ask yourself, right, that Socratic question.
Does my faith make me a better citizen? More compassionate, more aware of others?
Or does it just make me more judgmental, more likely to just, categorize people who think differently?
Tough questions to ask ourselves, honestly.
And that famous line, give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's.
Sounds clear enough.
But what happens when Caesar starts deciding what belongs to God? When political power starts defining religious boundaries?
That's where the power dynamic really shifts, doesn't it? Who gets to draw that line?
Exactly. And history is just full of this stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Religion and power tangled up.
Oh, constantly. Think divine right of kings.
Yeah, or caliphates. Manifest destiny.
In every case, political power got its legitimacy, or part of it, from claiming God was on their side.
So are we really that different now? Or are we just maybe subtler about how we use higher authority to back our politics?
It's a question worth sitting with.
Let's just pause for a second. Think back, everyone listening. Was there ever a time a political belief felt almost sacred?
Like an absolute truth, non-negotiable.
Yeah. And disagreeing
Yeah.
felt like heresy, almost. No judgment here. Just notice that feeling. Where did that certainty come from, really?
And what about tolerance? We talk about religious tolerance all the time, a cornerstone, right?
Supposedly.
But how far does it really go? Does it include faiths whose political ideas scare us? Or is it mostly for the ones that feel familiar, comfortable?
Are we only tolerant when it's easy?
That's the uncomfortable question, isn't it?
Okay, here's a stark choice,
Yeah.
a real dilemma. Would you rather live under an unjust secular state, maybe one that feels morally lost,
Mm-hmm.
or under a religious state that claims divine justice but crushes anyone who doesn't follow its specific rules?
No easy answer there. Either way, there's danger. It highlights the extremes.
So when a candidate says, I'm a person of faith, what are they actually telling you?
Good question. Is it trust my morals?
Or I'll vote this way on certain issues.
Or is it just signaling I'm one of you? In-group appeal.
Varying that out seems pretty crucial.
Definitely.
Okay, rapid fire. Swearing oaths on religious texts. Yes or no? Is the Constitution enough?
What about religious symbols in government buildings?
Does removing them protect secularism? Or does it erase cultural identity for a lot of people?
Yeah.
It's a balancing act.
And many people feel torn, right, internally conflicted.
How so?
Like believing in a loving, inclusive God, but also seeing the real danger when religious groups try to force their views on everyone through politics.
Can you hold both those things without, twisting yourself into knots?
That's the struggle for a lot of
I
people.
heard a politician say once something like, my faith guides me personally, but the polls guide my votes.
Wow. Pragmatism or
Or something else. Is that just being realistic in a diverse society? Or is it a kind of corruption, selling out your core beliefs?
it's a fine line, a very fine line.
Here's something that might sting a bit. When we push to get religion out of politics, we might not just be challenging theology. We might actually be challenging someone else's deeply held beliefs and their political power.
So it's a power struggle too, not just ideas.
Recognizing that changes the game, doesn't it?
It does. And we see political piety used as a tool all the time.
Totally. Quoting scripture to get votes.
But then enacting policies that seem to go completely against those same scriptures.
It's a performance,
Mm.
a strategy. Not always genuine faith driving the actions.
Which leads to some self-reflection, right? For all of us.
How so?
Have you ever used your faith or maybe your lack of faith as a shield? A way to just dismiss the other side's arguments without really thinking about them?
Ouch. Like a shortcut to feeling right.
It's easy to do. We all filter things through our own lens, but we need to be aware of it.
Think about this scenario. A devout community leader, really faith-driven, fighting for social justice,
Okay.
their main opponent. An atheist pushing for deregulation that would hurt that exact community.
Yeah. So, in the political fight, who's actually being more moral? If we define moral by impact on people.
Right. Religious labels don't tell the whole story, do they?
Not even close. Now, flip that.
Okay.
Imagine an atheist political movement demanding all religious symbols be purged from public life. They call it liberation from dogma.
Right.
Would everyone cheer for secularism?
Mhm.
Or would some see that as a new kind of fundamentalism, imposing its own belief system?
Yeah, liberation for some might feel like oppression for others. It gets complicated fast.
And we say we want authentic politicians, people who mean what they say.
We do, right.
But what if their authentic, deep-seated religious beliefs lead to policies you hate? Do you still want authenticity then?
Huh. Or do we secretly prefer a bit of hypocrisy, as long as it's convenient for us?
That's the uncomfortable truth, maybe. We might want authenticity only when it aligns with our views.
History lesson time, maybe. Scripture's been used for everything.
Absolutely. Justifying horrific oppression.
And inspiring liberation movements.
Yeah.
Same texts, often.
It shows it's not just the religion itself, right? It's how it's interpreted. Who holds the power? What's the context? That's often the key.
Okay, here's a big twist. A potential mind bender.
Lay it on me.
What if the problem isn't really religion and politics, but politics becoming like a religion?
Ooh. Politics as religion, with its own dogmas, its own believers.
Exactly. Its own sacred texts, maybe manifestos or platforms, its own unquestionable truths.
That hits close to home, actually, when you think about how fiercely people defend their political side.
Yeah, so those political views you hold unshakably, could they function like faith? Based on revered texts, visionary leaders, a desired future that feels like a kind of promised land.
That's something to really chew on. It makes you question the foundations.
So after going through all this, all the contradictions, the tough questions, are you still 100% sure your side is purely rational, pure logic, no faith involved?
Take a real honest look. It's hard.
Because maybe the most dangerous wars, they're not really faith versus reason.
What are they then?
They're one faith versus another faith,
Yeah.
just disguised as politics.
Wow. Yeah. That reframes things significantly.
So let's go back to that first brutal question. If your God demanded a law that hurt millions,
Or maybe, if your reason, your science, your idea of progress demanded it.
right? If your core belief system, whatever it is, demanded a law that harmed millions who didn't believe,
Yeah.
would you obey?
And the really scary follow-up, have we already done that? Without fully realizing it.
Heavy stuff. If this is making you uncomfortable, good. Maybe share this conversation with someone you know who seems absolutely certain about all this.
Whether they want more religion and politics or none at all, these aren't easy conversations, but they're necessary.
What if political neutrality? What if that is the ultimate expression of faith? Faith in our shared humanity above any one doctrine.
An interesting thought. A commitment to something bigger than dogma.
And think about this. What's worse for society? A leader guided by a flawed personal faith,
Or a leader with no moral compass at all, just blowing whichever way the poles drift.
which is more dangerous in the long run.
It's a genuine dilemma.
Look how we treat political opponents online sometimes. Like heretics, right? Unfriending, blocking.
Digital inquisitions. Creating echo chambers.
Is that healthy debate?
Mhm.
Or something else entirely?
Imagine a law passed, based purely on one faith's rules. Now imagine being someone who fundamentally disagrees with those rules, but has to live under that law.
Can you feel the quiet violation in that? The unseen cost for people whose beliefs are just ignored?
It's easy to overlook when it's not your beliefs being sidelined.
Okay, personal inventory time for everyone listening.
Yes.
Pick, say, 3 political issues you feel really strongly about. Non-negotiable.
Got them.
Now trace them back. Where do they come from? Pure logic? Or is there something in there that feels a bit like faith? Be honest with yourself.
Because sometimes being too principled politically can blind us, right?
How so?
It can stop us from seeing the humanity in people who disagree,
Yeah.
from seeing any validity in their perspective. Creates moral blind spots.
I remember talking to a refugee once. Their country destroyed by fighting. Both sides claimed God was with them.
And the chilling part, they didn't even need to say which god. The destruction was the same.
So where is that line between a leader using religious ethics to guide them and using religious dogma to make laws? Who even gets to draw that line?
And who polices it? It's blurry, fiercely contested.
Think about secularism again. Are you consistently secular, or does it depend?
Meaning?
Are you okay with removing religious symbols you don't like, but fine with the ones from your own background or culture staying?
The potential for hypocrisy there. It's real.
Here's a thought trap. A state religion doesn't need a god.
It just needs a mandatory ideology, something everyone must buy into, believe in, regardless of their own conscience.
Yeah, that could be secular too.
So who really benefits most if we totally sever religion and politics? The people. Or maybe those who want power without any moral check, divine or otherwise.
It's a question worth asking.
You know, digging into this, I had to confront my own stuff. My initial urge to separate church and state felt clean, about freedom.
What?
But maybe, for some, that urge also comes from fear. Fear of moral codes you can't control, can't easily dismiss.
Interesting. Fear driving the push for separation.
It's possible. And there's that Nietzschean idea, isn't there, that if you kick out the old gods...
You don't necessarily get pure reason.
Right. You might just get new gods, maybe angrier ones. New, intolerant ideologies rushing into the void.
Okay, quiet moment again.
Yeah.
Think of one political belief you hold that you've never really questioned. Just feel its weight. What's holding it up?
And have you ever gone along with a political stance publicly, even if it felt wrong privately? Just to fit in, belong to the group.
That tribal pull is strong. It can make us compromise our own compass sometimes.
Maybe the idea of politics without belief is just impossible. All politics imposes some kind of morality, some values.
So the real issue isn't if beliefs are imposed, but recognizing that they always are.
Exactly. Maybe the key is being honest about it.
So, is the main goal banning religion from politics? Or is it preventing politics itself from becoming a dogmatic religion?
That might be the more urgent task right now.
Imagine your party asks you to compromise a core ethical belief for a political win. What wins? Loyalty to the party or your deep conviction?
Which identity takes over? Partisan or person of principle?
We say you can't legislate morality, but isn't that exactly what laws do?
Fundamentally, yes. They codify a moral view and apply it to everyone. The problem isn't the imposition, maybe it's denying that's what's happening.
Okay, hypothetical. A leader's deep religious faith drives them to push for universally good things. Universal healthcare, ending poverty, peace efforts.
Things most people would agree are good outcomes.
Would we still want to ban the religious motivation behind those good policies? Does the
Oh.
why matter if the what is beneficial?
It complicates the ban religion argument, doesn't it?
Your vote. It's never just a choice between candidates, is it?
No, it's like a prayer for a certain kind of world.
And the really hard question is, whose sacrifice does that prayer demand? Who pays the price for the world you're voting for?
How will future generations look back at us? At the role our beliefs, religious, secular, ideological, played in the mess we're in, or the progress we made?
What will they say about the choices our convictions led us to make, or failed to make?
Maybe true secularism isn't about an empty public square.
What is it then?
Maybe it's about creating a space where all beliefs and non-beliefs can actually engage. Argue, sure, but coexist without violence, without trying to politically erase each other.
Building something shared, despite the differences.
I have to admit, after all this, I don't have the final answer. Should religion be banned from politics? I honestly don't know.
And maybe that's okay.
What worries me more is the certainty. People on both sides who are absolutely sure they're right. History shows that kind of certainty can be dangerous. It shuts down thinking.
We're all stuck in this messy reality, aren't we? Belief, governance, trying to live together. Maybe just admitting it's complex, admitting we don't have all the answers, is valuable in itself.
Yeah. Instead of slogans, maybe just acknowledging the difficulty.
Remember that first question about God demanding a harmful law?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the real question now is, have our political gods, our rigid ideologies, our unquestioned loyalties already demanded sacrifices we just haven't faced up to yet?
That hits hard.
The line between prophet and politician, it's often blurry.
But the results of absolute conviction from either side throughout history.
Yeah. The blood spilled in the name of absolute truth stains everything red.
If this felt challenging, good. Let it sit. Revisit these ideas. Uncomfortable truths often take time to sink in.
And if this made you question even one assumption about politics and faith, share it, especially with someone who seems to have it all figured out.
This was the deep dive. We don't do easy answers.
Our goal is to give you the tools to question the foundations, your foundation.